you're working at your own pace, making sure that nothing is causing pain or discomfort, as in joint pain, muscular discomfort, entirely up to you. If you need to stop and have a little stretch, stop and stretch, stop and rest, and then join in again when you're ready to do so. Use your props, so the band and the ball. If I don't have band and ball, then I can use a cushion instead of the ball, or rolled up towel, and then a strap, a belt instead of the band. If you're seated, as usual, see if I can try and sit up as tall as possible. See if I can create a space between the rib cage and the hips, so making sure that I'm not squashing myself down at the front, preventing the diaphragm, the big breathing muscle inside of the rib cage, from moving. So see if I can encourage as much space as possible, picking myself up, imagining the diaphragm descending and ascending with the breath. So think of a nice relaxed belly breath. I don't want to breathe up into the top of the chest. I don't want to breathe into the neck. I'm trying to soften through the neck, soften through the chest, to the shoulders. See if I can guide the breath down into the belly. Feeling the belly expanding with the inhalation and then relaxing with the exhalation. If you're lying down, even easier, just allowing the mat to take your own weight, relaxing down, popping something below the head if you feel that you need to raise the head up, and then see if I can focus on that nice, relaxed breath, feeling the belly raising with the inhalation and then falling with the exhalation. The chest is still, the neck is relaxed, the shoulders, the collarbones are nice and soft. So it's trying to keep that nice, soft breath going. And then at the same time, running a quick scan over the body. So if I'm lying down, trying to feel the pressure at the back of the body, is it the same pressure between my right and my left shoulder, between my right and my left hip? Is my head centered? Are my arms, are my legs in the same position? I'm not changing anything, just noticing where everything is and how I feel to begin with. If I'm seated, feeling the pressure under the seat bones, is it the same pressure? Am I slightly leaning to one side? Is my head slightly turned or slightly tipped to one side? Again, I'm not changing anything, just being aware of everything is. And then once that I feel a little bit more aware of the body and where the body is, a little bit more relaxed through the breath, but then I'm going to start focusing on the shoulders and the arms. One arm at a time, I'm going to start to bringing it up in front, as high up as it feels comfortable, without forcing, without fighting the lift. Then I'm just going to ease the arm back, and then I'm going to pick up the other side. So little lift, a big lift, it doesn't matter. If I'm seated, the arm is lifting against the gravity, so it feels heavier to lift. So that's when I'm more likely to start hunching and shrugging. I'm going to prevent that by keeping the movement a little bit smaller, making sure that it still feels loose, it still feels relaxed. If I'm laying down, easier, as I'm working with gravity. So unless there is a pain in the shoulder, I should be able to easily take the arm back and then bring it back by the side. And then same as usual, I feel that as I come up at a certain point into my lift, my shoulder tends to click. It makes a noise. So if that's the case, as you're getting close to the point where the shoulder makes that noise, see if you can play with the position of the hand. So if I turn my hand slightly in or slightly out, at the same time, it changes the top of the arm. So as the forearm rotates, the top of the arm tends to move as well. So see if you can try and find a better combination between the arm and the shoulder socket, and you might actually be able to get rid of that clicking noise. 4, 3, 2, last one. and releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, adjusting the arms, and then changing the direction of the movement. From a front raise, I'm going to get into a little lateral raise. So instead of bringing the arm straight to the front, this time I'm going to swing it round the side into a big wave. I'm going to bring it round to the side and up. Return it back, and then exactly the same thing to the other side. And then coming back. So same as I did for the front raise, playing with the position of the hand. If I feel that the movement feels a bit clicky, maybe catching a little bit on the shoulder, making sure that I'm not forcing. And then as I'm working one side at the time, I might find that my right arm feels comfortable, so I can go for a nice big wave. My left arm feels a bit sore, so I might have to go for a slightly smaller wave. I might have to bring the arm slightly forward to the body line, as I feel that if I lift it straight out to the side, it feels a bit pinchy, it feels a bit sore, a bit tender. So finding the angle, finding the movement that works for the right, that works for the left arm. If you're laying down, imagine you could be doing a snow angel, but with one arm at a time. So I'm going to swing one around the side, and then come back. I'm going to swing the other, and then come back. Keeping it close to the floor if possible, allowing it to lift slightly away from the floor if I feel that the shoulder doesn't like being too close to the ground. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. It's a little bit more movement into the shoulder joint. I'm going to change the direction of the movement one more time. I'm going to go into a little abduction, adduction. So I'm going to raise both arms straight ahead, and then I'm just going to let the right arm open out to the right, as far out as I can. I'm going to bring it back to the middle, and then I'm going to open up the left. Bring it back to the middle, and then go over to the right. If you're lying down, then obviously I'm limited for space, as once that I touch the floor, I can't go any further than that. But if you're seated up, then you've got potentially the space behind. So instead of stopping here, I can actually maybe go a little bit further. Just making sure that to take the arm further, I'm not twisting, I'm not forcing. So the shoulder is still down, the chest is still lifted, and the neck still feels nice and loose. So I'm able to turn the head, move the head. It doesn't feel stiff, it doesn't feel tight. So opening and closing that door. Opening and closing that door. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms. And then what I want is to create a little bit more space at the back of the shoulder. So I'm going to reach the right arm straight forward, straight ahead. With the left hand, I'm going to hook below or above the elbow joint, not on the elbow joint, as that will lock the elbow, so it will feel uncomfortable. So above or below. And then I'm just going to imagine your right arm to be like a scarf that you're wrapping around your shoulders. So not around your neck, but around your shoulders. So I'm going to try and hug that right arm around the shoulders and the front of the chest, until I can feel a little stretch coming around from the back of the shoulder down into the arm. So I'm going to pull it gently towards me until I can feel that pull, and then I'm just going to hold it steady there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back, relaxing the shoulder, switching sides, sticking that left arm in front. I'm going to hold above or below the elbow joint, And then again, I'm going to try and wrap that arm around the front of the body until I can feel a little stretch behind that left shoulder. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back and giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. So shoulder a little bit looser. See if I can try and put all the different directions together. So instead of focusing on one direction at a time, I'm going to see if I can put them all together into circles. So this time, both arms together. I'm going to bring them up to the front. I'm going to open them to the side and then circle them round. Come back, and then I'm going to try again. So nice big lift, open, and circle. So same as I did before, my circles could be small, it could be really big. Just listen to the shoulders and the arms, so making sure that it doesn't feel as if the shoulder is grinding, so there is no pain or discomfort. It feels smooth. And then the arms are working together this time. So if my left side is a little bit stiffer, my right side will be patient enough to follow that left. So the movement will be a little bit smaller with that arm. If you're laying down, exactly the same. I'm going to use the space to swing the arms into that big circle. 3, 2, and then last one, I'm going to reverse the circle. So I'm going to start by opening the arms, bring them towards the head, and then bringing down by the hips, by the legs, and then round again. Each direction can feel very different. So make sure that, as you reverse the circle, you adjust the size of the movement. So again, I feel that this way feels easier. So I might be able to make the circle even bigger. This way feels a bit stiffer. So I might have to make the circle a little bit smaller instead. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms. It's a little bit warmer into the shoulder joint, the shoulder girdle. This time I'm going to focus on the hip. So first the thing I want to try and activate the hip flexors. So the front of the hip, deep into the hip joint. So if you're seated, you can put your hand directly on the leg. If you're lying down, it's better if you put the ball between your hands and your right leg, as otherwise I'll have to overreach and my neck might start straining. So the ball is just going to allow me to sit a little bit more, lay a little bit more comfortably on the mat. So I'm going to keep a little pressure with the hands. So I'm going to push with the hands down into the ball, down into the leg. And at the same time, I'm going to try and lift the leg up into the ball. So I'm going to try and pull it up that way. So the leg is not going to go anywhere, but see if you can be aware of the little twitch, of the little tension right into the front of the hip. So the muscles are there. I should be able, as they start gripping, as they start tightening, they should be feeling like strings, like a guitar strings that I can kind of like play. So see if I can find the connection into the hip. So I'm going to squeeze into the ball, release, squeeze into the ball, release, squeeze into the ball, release. So picture your thigh bone going up towards your chest and then down, up towards your chest and then down. Your hands are pushing against that lift, so the leg is not going anywhere. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then get rid of the ball, get rid of the pressure, and then see if you can now focus on that same leg. So I felt those muscles twitching, I could feel them switching on. See if I can try and use them now to lift the leg. So I'm trying to pull my thigh up towards the chest and then down. So I'm going to try and close the front of the hip and open it. So I might be able to lift the foot off the ground. I might find that I can just barely get the heel off the floor. It doesn't matter, but same as you did with the ball, see if you can just be aware of that tension into the front of the hip. See if you can try and focus on it. See if each time I can try and make it just a little bit stronger. Just a little bit stronger. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. So again, I can put my hands directly on the thigh if I'm seated, if I'm lying down with the ball or with the cushion. It just makes it a little bit more comfortable for my upper body. And then with the hands, I'm going to push away. With the leg, I'm going to try and lift. So I'm going to try and tense and release that tension. Tense and release the tension. Same as on the other side. You see if I can find that connection deep into the hip. So feeling those strings are there into the hip, tightening as I'm trying to pull the leg up and towards the chest. 3, 4, 5, making sure that I'm breathing, not holding the breath. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and easing back, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. I'm going to get rid of the pressure and then see if now I can try and pull the leg up into that lift and then ease it back down. And then same as on the other side, it might come up, I might not be able to get the foot completely off the ground. It doesn't matter, just to see if I can keep the awareness into the hip, if I can feel those muscles tensing, to pull the thigh towards the chest and then ease it back. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. So it's a little bit more connection into the front of the hip. What I want now is to try and find a similar connection, but onto the inner thigh. So I'm going to use the ball or the cushion. I'm going to put it between the knees. And then from there, I'm just going to walk the feet a little bit closer together. And then I'm going to try and squeeze the ball. So I'm going to try and squeeze out into the ball, into the pillow. And then I'm just going to ease the pressure. This time you're going to use both legs at the same time. So as you're pressing into the ball, see if you can be aware as very often one side is strong, so that side will be pressing, and then the other side will just kind of be holding there. So if I feel that one side seems to be responding well, while the other side is not, I'm going to focus on that side. And then if I need to, with the hand, I'm going to guide the leg. So I'm just going to try and tell the leg where I want it to go. So see if I can try and encourage that little squeeze and then ease back. So feeling the inner thighs, the tensing to try and squeeze into the ball, squeeze into the pillow, and release back. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and easing back. Releasing the tension from the inner thighs, relaxing the leg, relaxing the hips. And then I'm going to work in reverse. So pushing the ball to the side, I'm going to grab hold of the band or the strap. If it's an elastic one, I can tie kind of like quite tight around the legs, because there is a give to it. If it's a belt, so there is no give, then I'm going to keep it a little bit looser, so I've got a little bit of space into the loop that I can move my legs. So I can still go into that little outwards push. So setting the band around the leg, around the knees, and then I'm going to push out into the band. Then I'm going to ease back, and then push out again. As you keep the push going, as you keep the pressure going out to the side, same as you did for the pressure in. I feel that my right leg is working really well, my left leg, it's not. So I'm going to focus on that left leg, and then with the hand, I might just guide the leg in the direction I want it to go. So see if I can try and send it there, and then easing back. So opening and closing. Opening and closing. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and easing back, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. I'm going to undo the band, pushing the band to the side, relaxing through the legs. And then what I want now is to find a little connection at the back of the leg. So I've done the inside, I've done the outside, I've done the front. What I want is for the back of the leg to connect, the back of the thigh, back of the bum. So if you're seated, I'm going to bring the feet a little bit closer to the chair, and then leaning forward into the legs. Imagine to be wanting to lift off the chair. So I'm going to lower the weight into the legs. I'm going to squeeze with my bum. I'm going to try and lift the hips and then ease them back. So if I can physically pull away, I will pull away. If I find that I can't lift, I'm just going to try and squeeze with my butt cheek as if I was trying to lift off the chair, and then ease back down. If you're down on your back, then I'll be driving with the back of the hips, with the back of the bum up into bridge. So the front of the hips is trying to open. I'm trying to reach my thighs out and away as if I was trying to shoot them out of the hips, out of the pelvis, and then easing them down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and easing back, relaxing the legs, releasing the hips. So it's a little bit of activation all the way around the hip. I'm going to see if I can try and play with the different directions. So if I need a little support, I'm going to slip the band, slip the strap behind the right thigh so that I can use my arms to help me support, to help me move the leg. And then imagine with your knee to start drawing circles in front of you. So if I'm lying down, I'll be drawing circles on the ceiling above. If I'm seated up, I'm going to draw circles on the wall in front. So just a little movement. It doesn't need to be anything too big, but see if you can be aware of the thigh bone moving into the hip socket. So it's a nice circle. It doesn't matter if it's an oval and not a circle, just that's the direction. So I'm trying to go in, I'm going to try and come down, I'm trying to go out, I'm trying to go up. Using the arms to help me move the leg. If I feel that the leg is a bit temperamental, doesn't really want to move today, using the leg if I feel that I've got enough control to move the leg on its own. I'm going to reverse the circles going around it the other way. If I feel that I need a little rest, just remember which direction you're going so that you can go the other way when you're ready to start again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. I'm going to try the same thing with the left side. So if I feel that I need a little support, a little direction, I'm going to set the band around the left thigh, and then I'm just going to start going into that little circle. So trying to bring the leg out, down, across, and up. So whichever direction you start in. This little movement, allowing the hip to relax a little bit more, and a little bit more each circle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reversing the circle, going the other way. Again, little rest if I need to. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. This is a little bit more movement into the hip joint as well. We're going to focus on the back. So starting with the neck, I'm just going to try to lengthen as much as possible, and then I'm going to start to looking around. So I'm going to try and turn to look around the right shoulder, turn to look around to the left. Same as usual, if you're seated, it's very tempting to start to moving the shoulders too. So see if you can be aware, as I turn, I want to make sure that the shoulders stay still. It's just the head that is standing on top, however small the movement is. If I'm lying down, then the shoulders are resting on the mat, so I'm just moving the head side to side. As usual, comparing the difference between the right and the left. So I feel that I can turn my head with more ease when I look around the right or when I look around to the left. So the side that feels stiffer, the side that I'm going to pay more attention. So I feel my right side is stiffer. So I'm just going to try and see if I can give myself a little bit more time when I turn that way. And then I'm just going to go back to the left. And then just a little bit more time to the right, or vice versa. If I feel that is the left turn that feels restricted, that feels tighter. 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing the head back to the middle, and then changing the direction of the movement. From rotation, I'm going to go into a little lateral flexion. So if you're seated, imagine your back and your head to be against the wall. So I want my head to stay against the wall, and I'm just going to move it from side to side. So as if I was trying to drop my right ear down to my right shoulder, and my left ear down to the left shoulder. Making sure that it's the ear that is dropping to the shoulder, not the shoulder that is shrugging to the ear. And then no pain, especially no pain, kind of like referring down the arms, or like a tingling down the arms or tingling into the fingers. So if there is any discomfort, then I'm just going to keep the movement smaller, making sure that I'm not going as far as I can, but just as far as I feel that I'm still comfortable through the arms. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then easing back, returning the head back to the center, and then changing the direction one more time. I'm going to go into a little skull rock. So if you're seated, imagine the wall behind you again. So I'm going to push the chin into the back of the throat, as if I was trying to give myself a double chin. So what I want is for the back of the neck to lengthen and lift. And then I'm just going to release, look forward, look up. I'm going to go into extension. So again, I'm going to try and tuck in, lengthen and lift. And then I'm just going to release and go into extension. Same as you did for the lateral flexion, making sure the specialties are going into extension. It doesn't feel as if it's pinching, so there is no pain. I'm always supporting the weight of the head. If you're laying down, the head stays on the mat. As I go into extensions, as I start to look behind, and then as I tap the chin, imagine the back of your neck to flatten against the floor. Then I'm going to arch it away, and then see if I can flatten it again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. And releasing back, adjusting the position of the head, relaxing the neck. And then I'm going to repeat the same with the upper back. I'm going to start off with a little flexion extension. So exactly the same as I did for the neck right now, I'm going to do with my upper back. I'm going to push the chest. If I'm laying down, I'm going to push the chest up to the ceiling, see if I can lift my rib cage off the mat. And then I'm going to press the rib cage into the floor, supporting the weight of the head. I'm going to tap myself forward into a little flexion, then release back, and then push up into extension. If you're seated, think of the back of the rib cage. I'm just going to try and push it back, rounding it as much as possible. And then I'm going to try and go the opposite way. I'm going to try and lift, squeeze the shoulder blades together, lifting through the front of the chest as much as I can. And then I'm going to flex it forward again. So see if you can think of a nice, easy movement from the top of the spine. So rounding and opening up, lifting. Rounding, opening up, lifting. 5, 4, 3, 2, last time. And releasing back. Relaxing the shoulders, releasing the back. From forward flexion into extension, I'm going to go into lateral flexion. So if you're seated, allowing the arms and maybe to dangle down, I'm going to flex to the side. This time the head and the shoulders moving over, come back to the middle, and then I'm going to flex to the other way. So imagine 2 sets of pulleys down the side of the belly. I'm going to pull down with my right, I'm going to lengthen up the left side, I'm going to pull down with the left and then lengthen up the right side. So little movement, I'm not expecting anything too big. If you're laying down, you might want to use one hand behind the head to support the head, and then with the other arm, I'm going to reach down the side. Then switch the arms, and then reaching down the other way. Switch the arms, and then down the other side. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing down. Adjusting the shoulders, straightening up the back, and then from lateral flexion, we're going to go into rotation. So whether you're seated or laying down, I'm going to reach the arms to the front, I can clasp the hands together, I can keep my hands apart, whichever feels easier. And then I'm just going to start to swing the arms around. So if I'm down on the back, I'm going to roll over one side, is back to the center, rolling the other way. So swinging from side to side, rolling from one shoulder over to the other. So see if I can get the rotation going. If I'm seated, I've got more space, which means that I can keep turning as far around as I can, and then keep turning as far around as I can the other way. Without forcing, just trying to loosen up the back. And then same as you've been doing so far, always compare right with left side. And then pay more attention to the side that feels stiffer, that feels more restricted. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, Last one. And releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, bringing the body back to the center, back to the middle. The back feels a little bit looser. See if I can start coordinating the arms and the legs together to finish off. So imagine strings that attach your right hand to your right leg and your left hand to the left leg. So think of like a puppet. So I'm just going to try and puppet my legs. I'm going to start pulling up on the right arm. See if I can get the right leg to follow. Then ease back and pulling up with the left. See if I can get the left leg to follow. And then same as before, I might be able to lift the foot off the ground. I might not quite be able to lift it off the ground. It doesn't matter. See if I can be aware of the front of the hip tensing, the thigh bone moving towards the chest. So the hip joint closing into that flexion. So one side, easing back, and then the other, and then back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing back, allowing the legs, allowing the shoulders a little rest. And then I'm going to try one more time. This time I'm going to cross the strings over. So think of your right hand and your left leg connected, your left hand and your right leg. So as I pull with my right hand, I want my left leg to come up. Then ease down. As I pull with my left hand, I want my right leg to come up. And then down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back. Relaxing the hips and releasing the shoulders. If you're lying down, slowly rolling over onto the side, pushing yourself up into sitting. Finding your comfortable seated position. Leaning against the sofa, against the wall for a little support, or using your arms at the back to offer a little support if you need to. Setting the legs, whichever position works best for your hips, or for the legs, or for the knees. And then once that you're happy there, then see if we can create a nice lift at the front. So I'm going to try and bring the chest forward. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to let the shoulders roll back and drop down. I'm going to try and lift to the front of the body as high as I can. I'm going to allow myself to look up. I'm going to allow myself to look back as far as possible. And then I'm just going to ease back, rolling down, allowing the chin to drop down to the chest and the shoulders to come forward. I'm going to roll down towards the legs as far as I feel that I can go, and then back in reverse. Palm curling all the way back up, reaching forward through the top of the chest, dropping the shoulders down at the back, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then release and coming forward, rolling down as much as you can. Last time, nice big lift to the front of the body, trying to create as much space as you can, lifting through the chest and drop the shoulders, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then releasing back to the front. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow, give yourself a knuckle down.